What's up, guys? I'm here to talk a little bit about some weight reduction. I was just sitting in my car and I got to thinking about this. There's some weight reduction that can be done that a lot of people don't even think about. Number one, if you change over from power brakes to manual brakes, you can actually lose some weight there, because that booster is probably about 12 to 15 pounds, some of them are actually a little heavier depending on what kind of vehicle you have. What you want to look for is like old pickup trucks and stuff like that. There's going to be some modification that'll need done, but it's not going to be that big of a deal if you have half a clue and you've got a good idea of what you're doing. You just do some research and you can find some answers on it. But like I say, it's something that a lot of people don't do because they just don't really think about it. And it is kind of complicated to switch over from power to manual brakes. But if you get rid of that brake booster, put on a bigger master cylinder and stuff, and modify your brake pedal a little bit, and you don't even have to modify the whole brake pedal, you just got to modify the shaft a little bit. But also whenever it comes to like getting rid of your power steering pump, there's information about all of this stuff online. There really is, but it's some stuff that people don't think about whenever they're actually wanting to do weight reduction, and getting rid of seats and stuff like that. If you're going with a full-blown race car, you don't care if you got seats in the back seat. As a matter of fact, half the time you don't even care if you've got a passenger seat if it's a full-blown race car. But if you want to keep it streetable, and power steering is one of those things, there's usually a retrofit to a lot of your vehicles. There's usually a retrofit, so you can usually look that up. A lot of the older, like Hondas and Escorts and stuff, a lot of the older ones were actually manual steering anyways. So if you do a little research, like the ZX2 that I have, you can take an old Ford Escort Pony, and you can actually use the manual rack out of it. There's also some other stuff that can be done, and if you change out your flywheel, put a lightweight flywheel, that's going to be overall weight reduction, not just on the engine, but it's going to be overall weight reduction, because a lot of those are 5, 7, 8 pounds lighter than what the stock steel one is. Rims, for the most part, if you're going from steel to aluminum wheels, you're gonna lose a little bit of weight there. That's a good idea to do. Sometimes it's not so much weight reduction, it's weight placement. Like you can balance out the vehicle if you want to. You can add a little weight to the back end if you want to hold it down a little more. If you're doing like some kind of track racing or rally racing of some kind, you want to balance it out so that it actually is more control. But you can also, as far as the back end, if you want to lose a little bit of weight, you're not going to lose a lot, but if you want to cut out the spare tire well, you can actually cut that out and then put like a thinner gauge of sheet metal over it and weld it in, seal it up and stuff. Because usually if it's some kind of a race car of some type, it's not going to be that big of a deal, because you don't need the spare tire well, because you're actually recommended to take the spare tires and everything out of the trunk anyways. So and like I say, you may, being it's a heavier gauge of metal, if you use something like 22 gauge to just a flat piece welded over it and sealed up, you're going to lose maybe a pound or 2 overall, but it's not going to be tremendous by any means. So anyways, that's some stuff that you can actually do for some weight reduction. And sometimes if you've got drum brakes in the back, if you can find a conversion for the rear brakes, usually that's a little bit of a weight reduction as well. Like for the ZX2, if you get an old Escort GT, like a 90s model Escort GT, you can take the whole rear float, the whole thing, and replace it. And you want to take the whole thing because you actually want the bigger sway bar, because the old Escort GT actually had a bigger sway bar on it. So that'll actually be beneficial in the long run too. So not only do you get a nice set of disc brakes, but you also get an upgraded sway bar, which is actually thicker than the one that's on the front of the ZX2s. But like I say, there's plenty of things to do for weight reduction. Now, some classes actually require you to keep stuff, and some classes require you to actually get rid of stuff, like inner door panels and things like that. If you want a vehicle that you can still drive on the road, you don't really want to get rid of your inner door panels. You want it to at least look stockish on the inside. Excuse me, but anyways, as far as overall weight reduction goes, there's plenty of things that you can do, and those are a few suggestions of some stuff that you can do. And also taking off your power steering pump, not only will that decrease the drag, but yet there's other stuff you got to do that's involved in that. You can actually look that up. There's actually information on the internet for doing that as well, because you'll have to change a couple pulleys around or something, and then get a shorter belt. As far as the power steering delete, actually sometimes on a road type course, and you've got a lot of curves, it's actually not a bad thing to have a little bit stiffer steering anyways. So anyways, there's a few suggestions for that. And the AC bypass pulley, or just get rid of the AC altogether. Like I say, when you do stuff like that, you have to measure the belt you're going to need, and there may be some moving around of some of the pulleys to get them right and to get it lined back up. But it can all be done. It's not an impossible feat. Somebody's already done it before. So there's information on the internet about it. Anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope that this little video has helped you out some. And feel free to subscribe if you wish. And have a spectacular day or night, whichever one it is for you. Peace out.